we got with us today Samuel Stahl, also known as Evilmorty, and currently you are the top player in Canada. You've just won all three of the major Canadian tournaments in 2024.
Yeah,
20.
I think I was like yeah 20.
So if we
It goes up, goes down a lot.
oh,
it's
so
it's the
sorry,
fun of
yeah.
the game.
So 13th in the world right now.
13. Oh, not bad, not bad.
Pretty solid. Almost in the top 10 on the world on stats at least.
Maybe someday we can dream.
Yeah. I mean, you do play a lot on Tabletop Simulator as well?
I played quite a few people in there. I played the Mickey 2 times. It was a long time ago, but I played him. I played Larks. I played Schuster in the 12th place. I think I'm not sure. I think I played Casa. Uh, um, and yeah, they're excellent player. It's really nice to play with them.
How much do you think playing on Tabletop Simulator helps, not only on your stats reputation, but just developing your skills in this game?
For me, what it helped me a lot is to get a high volume of games in, because it's so easy on stat. And we played together so many times, and without TTS, I mean, without TTS, it's not possible for you and I to play because. Even if we get together for a game day, it's you have to take a whole day, bring your mini, set up your thing, and on TTS, if you play with someone that knows the game, normally in an hour you're done. And if it's a long game, then it's like 70 80 minutes, sometimes a bit more, you're done. So it's easy to, even some days, and I see some people are like me. They play three games in a day, and it doesn't take your whole day. It's just a couple hours, where if you do it in real life, then it's a lot more complicated. So it helped me do a lot of volume of games. In the lot of volumes of game, you make a lot of mistakes, you lose a lot of games, and you learn a lot. So that for me, it's the main point. Second point, for me, it really helped me with positioning. Positioning, how to place your unit so that you can either charge block or allow to be charged, and but give bad options to your opponent, and also how to really position yourself with the terrain. So how to place yourself correctly in a forest to maybe block line of sight for shots, or how to properly place yourself with stakes so that your opponent cannot charge you, but you can at some point pivot and charge without getting the stakes. In person, it's a bit harder, I think, to learn these things. TTS helps a lot because you have all the line and all the measurements, all the tools that you don't have in person. So me, I'm a big advocate for TTS or the new simulator. Haven't tried it yet. Looks not my cup of tea, but I'm definitely open to learn it. So yeah, those two tools online, I think they can be really great to learn a lot.
It's like you said, you get more games in, practice makes perfect. So,
Yeah.
um, absolutely recommend that to new players.
Last point, it allows you to play things you don't own, which like me, I don't. I already have 8 factions. I don't want to buy Free Folk. I'm not gonna buy Free Folk, but I want to learn them. I want to play them. So I play the 20 something games with Free Folk without having to pay money to buy them. So that's really nice also.
Just wanted to kind of let people know a little bit about yourself. Uh, so, a couple quick things, like when did you start playing? Like, were you in at the start of this, and what attracted you to the game, and what's kept you in the game?
So what attracted me is me. I always passionate about fantasy, Middle Age. I studied history at the university. I really enjoyed the anything medieval. I like fantasy, not high fantasy, so more like Game of Thrones fantasy type. But I was always looking for a war game. I never played war game. This is my first war game I play. And when I saw the Kickstarter a couple years ago, I was like, wow, that looks actually cool. I watched a couple video. The price was reasonable because you want to start playing Warhammer, you have to mortgage your house if you want to buy like an army. And the rule book is like encyclopedia, and I was like, wow, this game looks solid. I backed the Kickstarter, I got everything, started playing, and I fell in love with the game, and haven't stopped playing since.
Awesome. Crazy how many similarities I can share with that. Because I also this is my first war game.
Mm,
I painted and attempted to play like Fantasy Warhammer back in the day when I was a kid, and it was a little me and
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
me and
Same
my
thing.
friends
Yeah,
preferred to paint because the atmosphere of playing it and that rule book was just a little much for us.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so this game, I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
the rule book and I was immediately like, okay, it's like smaller than some of my board games rule books. So
Hmm, hmm.
very, very approachable, very digestible game to get into for sure.
Yeah. And I'm like same thing when I was like I don't know, 18, 19. I went to game store and I saw like the Warhammer Old World boxes, and like, wow, that's so cool, skeletons and all. And then I saw the Bretonians. I'm like, wow, those guys are so badass. And I saw the Bretonians riding Pegasus, I think, the flying horses. And I'm just gonna buy that. So I bought it. I went to dollar store, bought a bunch of acrylic paint, tried to paint them, and I was like, wow, that looks like shit. And I never touched that again for like another 10 years. So yeah, that was my first attempt at wargaming some 15 years ago.
So speaking of playing it competitively, actually, right before we get to that, last thing I wanted to ask about is you are a member of the Lords of the North. Did you start that group or was it already
Oh,
existing?
no, no, no. The fact that I'm really into this game and into not only competitive play, but into our community we have here in Quebec and Canada, it's thanks to Phil and Alex. Initially it was Phil. I knew Phil a bit longer before Alex. Phil de Balrog, who was in Team Canada with us. He's the founder of Lord of the North and the YouTube channel, and he's really the guy who started the tournaments in the Montreal area. He organized everything. He put the Facebook group together. He put everyone together. He invited. We started to talk to chat on Facebook because I saw he organized tournaments, so I chatted him, asked him, okay, should I like initially I was worried I couldn't bring my units because I put grass over the small arrows on the trays, and I was like, fuck, I cannot bring that to a tournament. But who cares? And I realized that it's not really an issue. So yeah, it's Phil who started it. First time we played, he destroyed me. Second time we played, he destroyed me also. Third time we played, he destroyed me. Then I was like, okay, I got destroyed enough times. I know what I did. I know what I did need to do to not get destroyed again. So then thanks to him and thanks to Alex, I got a lot better at playing this game.
Awesome. And for anybody who might be watching this and playing in your area, how if they wanted to get onto your team, how does that work? Do you guys have a process for bringing people into the Lords of the North fold?
Yeah. The process is simple. It's if you play a battle report on the channel, you're in the team. That's for sure. And now Phil will give you a T-shirt, and you're Lord of the North now. So that's really that simple. Uh, After that, we have for the next TTS team tournament coming, we made Team Lord of the North. That will be we will be a 6-player team. And this we selected the people who we wanted, depending which faction they play, and to have the best team around. So it's not like we don't keep it like a close thing where we jealously guard our club or anything. It's really open, and we just want people to participate and have fun with us.
Awesome. So yeah, anybody out there, whether it's online or in the area, just get out and
Yeah,
play
yeah, yeah,
with one of
yeah.
you guys and you're in the
Yeah,
good.
we're interested in playing the game. We if people want to play the game with us, we're gonna play with them. And if you want to be in the club and play the game with us, we're gonna bring you in. That's for sure.
Sweet. Well, I gotta say, you guys have some pretty nice t-shirts, and
Thanks.
it's a great name. It's a great name. Um,
Thanks.
so you are now, we mentioned at the start, you've won the three big Canadian tournaments this year. This year, Canada was able to, so far this year, pull off three 20-plus player tournaments in Toronto, Ottawa-Gatineau, and Trois-Rivières. And you've won all three. And so you just this weekend, just yesterday, you won in Ottawa-Gatineau the title of King of the Riverlands. And I think
I told it to my wife, and she was not that impressed. She said, like,
no,
"Hey, really? You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe."
well, it's true. You are the king of the Riverlands, according to the local ASOIAF group. At least. Um, so with all your success this year, obviously you must have a good strategy, and without giving away all your secrets, I wanted to ask you, like, some of the process. So first off, like, you played Starks for the first two big tournaments, and then at this one you went Targaryens, and you even ran some units you had never played. I in one of our videos you mentioned that this is your first time playing dragons.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tried to remember. I did other tournaments with Targaryen. Probably, if you look on stats, I already played them, but like versions ago. But this season, this in this setting, it's the first time I played them. Season 4, I think, maybe even season 3. I don't remember. I played them recently. But I know how they are played. I've watched games of. Think it was Bob Bernard of the French team who played against Jaden from our team, Canada. I just took his list. I didn't want I didn't have time to test lists because I was on parental leave and not a lot of free time to testing. So I just took a list that I knew worked and that a player I knew I saw a player play. This Marcelin list with the two dragons. So yeah, for me, it was a good experience because the process for me it's 100% teamwork. For us, Lord of the North, it's not just a club where we say we play the game together, but really we help each other a lot, and it's like. I don't know how to say it in English, but maybe like echo chamber where we have our group chat, and I say, okay, now I'm gonna go to Toronto. I know Jordan is there. Jordan is good Martel player. I know Ethan is there and Rich, both good Lannister player. Then I look at the rankings, who's gonna be there and what they play, and I know, okay, I know there's not gonna be like a very very good free folk player. There's gonna be free folk player, but no one like above 1600 rating. So I don't need to specifically list build for free folk. I really need to focus on Martels and Lannister. Uh, so I take basic list I want to play. I look at what the opponents play usually, and I play it against Alex and Phil. And for the Toronto tournament, what we did and it's not it's a secret recipe, but not really a secret. It's really work. We practice a lot and we work. Like for the Toronto tournament, I knew, and I don't want to sound arrogant at all or nothing like that. I knew I was gonna go in final. If I go to final, I knew it was either against Rich or Jordan. That was like 95% sure. And it's what happened. I went to final against Rich. I could lose to Rich or Jordan before in the tournament, but I knew at some point I had to beat either one of them to win that event. So Phil, look at past list Rich played and played a lot. And we realized he varies a lot, but this season he played a lot of the same things, like two Knights of Casterly Rock, Tywin Bomb, etc. So I took my list and I play tested my list against Phil 4 times. 4 times he destroyed me. So I knew exactly what I needed to do to win and what not to do. And we adjusted my list. We realized the even the Tully Calf even with the Glory Seeker or Winterfell Guardian, you still get one-shotted by a good charge and the Tywin Bomb. You still lose a unit. So I realized I needed weekend tokens to blunt the charge. So I had my third NCU initially in my list was Caitlyn to remove my self tokens, but I cared more about giving weekend tokens than to removing them from me, because I don't necessarily need to hit hard. I just need to not die to be able to heal up with Eddard or other things. And I had a couple of points at the end I wasn't sure, so I just put the Stormcrow Mercs with Clegane with that has threatened to give weekend tokens. So it ended up after a lot of practice, lot of iteration of that list. So yeah, Eddard, Tolikav with Winterfell Guardian to really go into trouble. Naked Tolikav to go more around and maybe skirmish a bit, and then a 5-point useless unit that can sit on objective and give weekend tokens. So this was really a good iteration of that Eddard list. I really liked it, and really the plan was to blunt the two Knights of Casterly Rock. So for me, it's really playing the tournament, seeing who's the top players, what are they playing, and that's what I need to beat. And the other guys, the more casual players, or even tournament players that have a bit less experience, this even if my list is not optimized against theirs, I can manage. I know a lot of tricks. They don't necessarily know I can play tricks to them while we play that they don't expect, or they don't position perfectly like Rich would do, or Endline would do, or Jordan would do. So I don't need to really prepare against that. So that's really the main part of the strategy.
So obviously a lot of thought and practice goes into
Yeah, and
preparing for big tournaments for you.
that was a bit why I was initially nervous for the tournament this weekend, because I knew I wouldn't have time to playtest my list. That was for sure. This process for this tournament, I wasn't able to do that. So as I said, I just went with whatever I thought would work. So I made the tracky list. I know screamers are good. I put Khal Drogo in the Bloody Mummer Zorse Riders. I had no idea if it would work. It was pretty good. Worked pretty well.
So I noticed like you did get matched against a couple Greyjoys early game, and you went with
Yeah, both.
the
Yeah,
cab list
yeah.
in both cases, and then
Hmm.
Lannisters and Francois Night's Watch, you switched it to the Marceline list. So like how do
Yeah.
you choose, like did you have the two lists built specifically to face kind of different factions, or
Well, not necessarily. Really, with this Khal Drogo list, uh, what is very strong. Well, I think people will disagree. I think, but I think Ride by Attack. It's one like of those nasty cards. It's not the best card in the game or anything, but it's a very nasty card if you don't have cavalry. So I think if I remember correctly, both my Greyjoy opponent had no cavalry in both their lists. So of course I'm gonna go with the card that allows me to deal them a lot of damage, go behind their back without them being able to pivot, and then next round charge in the back with the Drogo and the Zorse Riders. And if I have overrun, then it's really tough. And that's what I was able to do in both games, was to take right by, go behind them. I drew right by early, went behind them with the card, and then they were like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do? I have Khal Drogo in my back. If I turn around, the screamers will get me, etc." So that was really the idea behind that list. You can do that with dragons, but you don't do damage while you go through, and then it's if you get stuck engaged with the dragons in combat with the Greyjoy, they're gonna die before they die. So I really went with that for this. Then third game against Ethan, I knew Ethan was gonna be there, and I list built against him also because I know he plays a very nasty Lannister lists, and This ride by it doesn't really work here because you're gonna get behind the Knights of Casterly Rock, and then they're gonna charge you, and you're gonna die. So it's not very good strategy against them. Here, I really went with the dragons because in general, dragons are very good against Lannister because Lannister have high armor. Dragons don't care. They do a lot of panic. Dragons don't really care unless you get a bad crit fail. And Lannister have difficulty being out activated. And that was like I think I got that 10 activation at some point against Ethan. Or
Awesome. So, you already kind of touched on this stuff, but like you've got a lot of experience from TTS, which helped with a couple things that I think are what separate somebody like me from you essentially at our level of play is that I still struggle sometimes and make bad mistakes with deployment and terrain choices.
Mhm.
Um, so like just wondering if you have tips for like, newer or players on like some key things to think about with your deployment and with your terrain. And how much does the scenario like come into to play on
Mhm.
the pieces too?
Mhm. That's a great question. Solid example. The event here, my brother was there. You saw my brother. My brother never he played this game a couple years ago. He played the game 2 years ago during COVID once, and then I told him, "There's a tournament. You want to come?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be there." And I explained him the game in the car and the ride coming in. I built him list. I said, "You play that Baratheon. It's not that complicated. You just advance, hit what you can, and get the objectives." And he had one Stannis list, one Renly list, and in one list he had GCX, in the other list he had Lightbringers. So I told him for the terrain, keep it simple. You need one stake, one weirwood, one stake, one core spell. With Stannis, you place the core spell and the stake. With Renly, you put the weirwood and the stake. So the lesson in this is that there's three things you need to consider when you place terrain. It's your own list, what is good for your own list, like Renly and units that have Dauntless and things like that. You want to pass panic test. So, of course, you put Weirwood, but maybe your opponent's list, it's also better for them to have Weirwood. So, do you really want to place Weirwood? So, you have to consider your list, the enemy list, and the scenario you are playing. Is it objective based scenario? Is it mission based scenario? And is it a combat based scenario? Or even here we stand. So maybe me, one of the things I really like to do, and it usually works great in let's say Clash of Kings, that mission that has three objective, or Dance with Dragons. If I want to keep the fight on one side of the battlefield, I put stakes on directly on one of the objectives, so that if my opponent wants to get that objective, he can. But it's going to cost him time and resources to get there, to get rid of the stakes. So it's really, you have to consider what's good for you, what's good or bad for your opponent, and what's the game mode. If you want to fight and try to table your enemy, then you limit access to objective. If you want to stay on objective, stay alive, then you place woods or palisades to protect yourself from enemy on the objective. So I don't know if that helps anyone, but there's no like trick that will get you better. It's one of these things that it's really case by case, and you have to play games and get experience to get good at this aspect of the game. Same with deployment.
Makes sense. And it is good advice though, I think, because I don't think, especially newer players,
Mm.
think about like I definitely had a very I try to consider it more now. I even try to go into most scenarios with a plan for terrain now, but uh at first definitely I was just throwing things out. I mean, when I played Lannister,
Yeah.
two corpse file every time regardless. I
Yeah,
just
yeah. Me, I know a very good player, high rank player that do that, and it's not bad strategy. When I play at hard with Starks, I don't want to have bugs or walls or things like that hinder my charge. I don't want to have, of course, corpse pile because I want to heal from my telecast. So I just put 2 wood. That's as simple as that. You can to keeping it simple. It's not a bad option, and like I don't think it's overrated. It's like deployment and the terrain placement. It's important, of course, but you're not gonna win or lose a game there. You might if you deploy very very badly, like almost on purpose. But other than that, the game is played that after. Even if you have make mistake during deployment or turn placement, you can keep it. You can take it back and win during the game. It's not something you have to worry too much about.
That's that's a good point, and I think that's something that's actually kept me um, interested in the competitive play is that there's been again never having played this stuff before, and being a person who tries not to be too competitive but can be a bit. Sometimes like when I was new, and you think you're doing everything right, and you just lose on bad dice,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
you
I have so many of these. It's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just gonna happen. But
Mhm.
what what I wanted to say is this game always seems to have a way to come back because your opponent
Yeah.
can get bad dice, or
Mhm.
there's just been so many times where I think a game's done and I come back and make it close or even win.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just to your point of you might make a mistake in deployment, you might make a mistake in your terrain selections. I mean, that's super early. You can definitely come back.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
This game gives a
Absolutely.
lot of opportunities. Like, there's a time when it's done and you're probably gonna shake hands, but usually
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Of course.
still got a few units out there. You lose a big one early, don't give up, right?
No, no, never, never. Because I've had, as you said, I've had some things like at the Grand Clash, the first tournament, the first big tournament of 2024, in the finals against Phil, who was my former master of this game. I He killed me 8 point unit round one because I made a mistake, stupid mistake, and he just wiped a full 8 point unit round one, and I was like, "What the fuck? It just happened. I just lost the game on round one. We haven't even started actually playing." And you would I said almost said like good game, and I'm not spending like an hour getting my units killed one by one, but I ended up pulling back and winning the game. So yeah, you can always almost of course if you're losing that 9-2 round six, you're not gonna win, but there in the first 2-3 round, you almost always have a way to come back.
Exactly. And so okay,
Or
so
even changing a crushing defeat to a minor defeat. It's a big achievement. That's really nice, especially during a tournament. That can make the difference from being finishing eighth or second in the event.
that's actually a really important point because that's something that until recently I didn't even fully understand the three scoring categories. Um, but the secondary points comes from the level of victory or defeat you get, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
actually huge in a tournament, to think about how badly you win or lose a game.
yeah.
So yeah, never. It's hard, and then it's hard not to. In the
Mhm.
Toronto tournament,
Yeah.
I had a situation which is actually on tape with Jaden, and um, but something happened. Somebody made a comment. It made him realize he had a counter plot in his hand, allowed him to stop a big play from me. And then I kind of went on tilt and made a couple of bad plays after that, right? That feeling of defeat, like, oh, it's over now. Whereas if I hadn't have made those kind of tilty plays in that bad mind state, um, it could have actually ended up like a minor defeat, which
Yeah.
makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Um, so how do you, or what advice do you have for newer players who might have one of those moments, and like how do you keep yourself in check in that moment of like, oh, this is done? Like,
First of all, you're allowed to ask your opponent to take 5 minutes. Me, I already done it. Me, I think twice. I'm pretty composed person, but I had times, or even when you see your opponent, maybe let's say he had a very bad roll and he's upset, you say, "Man, we can take 5 minutes and start the game after. It's okay." So if really, like you said, someone or does something or something happens that upset you, and then you know you're not in the right state to think clearly or play clearly, you can tell your opponent like, let's just take 5 minutes, cool down, and let's start again. And well, you cannot say no. You just take 5 minutes. Uh, so yeah, that's one of the things you can do. Other than that, you have to remember it's just a game. Like I got upset at sometimes. Like I had a game that was in the pocket, and all I needed to do is my telecav not to die, and I got attacked with like 7 dice, and I rolled 7 1s and 2s, and they died, and I was like, what the fuck? Then like for a whole half hour after the game, I was upset, but then I said, no, it's just a game. Who cares? So really, the thing is that, especially if you're a newer player, you're gonna get destroyed in a lot of games before you get good. So that's you just have to take it with some philosophy, with some uh, uh, light heart, and not get too upset. I think
For
it's just a
sure.
game.
That's one thing that has kept me in this game is the community.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's
I had like I did like I don't know 15 tournaments so far in line and in person. I had like maybe two bad interactions total. And even one of them was just like a slow player and being slow, and I lost the game because he was so slow. And I don't even think it was on purpose, but I was upset because I in the 2 hours of game I played like 20 minutes. He played like an hour and 40, and I lost 2 points when he had like one unit left with 2 wounds in the corner when I should have tabled him. And other time was during the World Championship. We had a bad interaction with one player, but that's nothing. But yeah, in general, like with the community in line online on Discord and in person, it's amazing. Really nice.
Yeah, I got to agree. Like, I don't think I can really point to any bad interactions at all. Like, there's some people you click with better always, but like,
Yeah, 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 of
no
course.
one's been, no one's ever gotten like, like nasty or even too upset. I've probably been the more upset person at a table than anyone
Yeah, yeah,
I played with. So, no, it's great because again, I don't want to bash other groups and games and stuff. I'm sure there's chill people in all of them, but some of the friendliness maybe hasn't been like it hasn't been my experience when I've tried to like peek in the door of some of these other games. Like it seems a lot more competitive, like with intent, like it's like it matters more and they're not gonna cut you slack or be like, hey, like, yeah, no, don't worry, you forgot that, go ahead and do it, like we see in our game even at our big tournaments.
yeah. That doesn't exist in Warhammer 40K or others. Well, in tournaments, if you don't play right, you can go fuck yourself. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's something I love about our community is, and I haven't really played international and stuff, and so you've played in the US nationals before? Is that right or no?
No, never, no, never. I really hope to go this year, but with the baby, it's difficult. Both well, time and money. It's hard to justify spending $1,000 for a weekend of board gaming. So uh, I'll see if I can go or not. Still not sure.
Fair. So, well, this is a good opportunity, I guess, to mention that you are doing a GoFundMe um to try and help you get there.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, anybody who's into this
I
video and wants to support you,
yeah.
we can throw a link up here.
Thanks, thanks. I never done this in my life. It's I spoke with someone at the tournament and said I should just go do GoFundMe. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I did it this afternoon. I didn't even expect to get like $20 or half a day. I'll go beat the Americans. That's for sure. I like them as neighbors, but in wargaming, there's no friends. So so we'll see if I can go. So yeah, if you can share the link in the video or in the description, that would be amazing. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, hopefully we can help get you there and maybe take down the US Nationals in the name of Canada.
That would be great. I would really like that because I know there's people coming abroad, great players coming abroad. I know they have great players down there. They also have like great community leaders that I would love that I spoke with on Discord, and I would love to meet in person. That's for sure. And again, like the GoFundMe is not to. I don't expect to pay the whole thing. Like just maybe if I can get a couple $100 of the $1,000 that it costs to go there, it would be great. Like a couple of years ago when I was just me and my wife, no problem, I would go. But with the baby, it's a bit more of a moral dilemma than spending this money for just for a game. We'll see, we'll see, and I hope I can be there.
And so where is it this year? Is it what event is it at the Adepticon that this happens or is it its own thing?
From my understanding, no, it is its own thing from what I understood. But like recently, and I don't like to criticize Simon because I think like I cannot. I think we can all say there's place for improvement, but still they're doing a good job with the game. The game is fun and mainly driven by the community, but still the game is there and it's their game. They did it, so it's good and it's good. Uh, but they made recently an announcement, and I saw you commented on the post, the Facebook post. They made announcement for Asia, Europe, nothing for America. They're American company, it's American game. They make no announcement yet. Maybe I'm a positive person. I'm hoping it's because they have something really cool to announce and they wanted to wait. I don't know. Maybe not. But there's for now, from what I gathered on Discord, there's no other information than like place and time.
And so where is it?
It's in Roseville, which is I think it's like a suburb of Minneapolis in Minnesota.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so like the plane, hotel room, and then the food. It's parking for the car there. It's about I the best I could find. It's like $1,000.
Seems like kind of, I mean, I don't want to bash Minnesota or Minneapolis or anything, but I wonder why they chose there. Is it a known spot for the game or
I think it's the I might be wrong again, but I think it's the headquarters of the company there, for Simon. But I
Right.
probably wrong on this.
That would make sense, I guess.
But I think that it's because where like the designers are. Yeah.
Um, so that actually kind of leads into how I wanted to wrap up to this chat. Like upcoming things. Okay, let's start with the patch because the patch is coming out this week, Wednesday. Um, so hopefully this I should have this video up before it. So what are some things that you would like to see them do or change in this patch?
Well, from a competitive point of view, purely competitive, I think they need to make the Boltons playable in tournament. Uh, because mini faction concept is cool, but if you cannot bring it to a tournament and hope to win it, it's not relevant that they exist. People can bring them for fun, of course, and play games and finish 3 wins, 2 loss, or 3 win, like 1 loss, and finish somewhere in the top 10. That's good. I haven't seen someone win a tournament. I think there was, but it's really off things. So if they could give a little boost to the Boltons to make them relevant in tournaments, we have another faction to consider in our list building. That would be great. That would be really cool. Maybe I see maybe something like they did with Greyjoy, like give them like a faction card that if this condition happens, they get this kind of buff, like as a faction for Bolton units.
Kind of like a pillage.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, not necessarily pillage, but just like they have like the card that gives them +1 morale and +1 dice if they have a pillage for the whole faction. So maybe something like that or whatever. For me, the game it's as what I'm scared is that they try to fix something that's not broken. The balance, of course, there's things like the Tolikav a bit too strong. Some commanders are a lot more prevalent than others in their own factions. My main concern is that they will try to fix something that's not broken and remove the current balance, which is I think that it's the most balanced the game has been in a long time, and I'm worried they will like create another Night's Watch or whatever. So I'm really hoping that they do just like small tweaks, not big changes. Uh, but even then, that's hard to do. Even if you put a small change, you could either put like a send in the cog, so that it blocks a machine. So you could destroy a meta completely with one simple change, or create a whole new thing that will make things really strong. So yeah, you see, there's no big difference. There's no bad neutral and Bolton. So of course, neutral not that good. They had like the GCS season that was ridiculous that they had to patch mid-season. But yeah, other than that, there's no bad faction. Like you can win with any of those factions. In Toronto, top 7 player were 7 different factions. That was amazing. So I like where the game is now, and I hope there's no disruption of that.
That's actually a really great point because I think sometimes like I was, I think a lot of people get excited, oh, like what's gonna get better, worse, what's gonna change, but
It
the
can
game
get a lot
actually
of
is in a good place. So like
yeah
maybe less is
yeah
less is more right
yeah
now.
yeah
Um,
because Martels are good, and if they say this Oberon card not very good, we're gonna change it to that, and they make like Oberon super strong. I'm saying Oberon any commander, who cares? They make him super strong, and then the Martels are the new Night Watch, because if you bring that commander, you have a 10% chance more of winning your tournament than if you bring another one. Then it's this is what I'm a bit worried about. So really small changes. I think they said like 25 times in the last stream, quality of life changes, maybe things like that. Uh, uh, and like some attachments are not even used. Some commanders are not even used. So maybe focus. I think they said they will focus on that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what they will do, and a bit worried, but we'll see.
so yeah, because I don't look at the stats as much as I don't know, maybe some people do, but I have noticed that over the course of this season, the the lineup has changed quite a few
Oh
times.
yeah, so many times.
Great
Yeah, yeah,
Jones,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember, were at
that's
the top for a while. Starks
yeah,
have been
yeah.
at the top. Baratheons have been at the top. I saw Targaryens at the top.
But
Um,
that's healthy. That's natural cycle,
yeah,
because it
that's
means that,
great.
let's say someone on Discord find a really cool Targaryen build that's deadly, and it's hard to play against when you don't know what it does. So you play the list. Targaryens, other Targaryen player pick it up. They play. Targaryens go up, but people learn the list. They adjust, and the Targaryens go down. So that's perfect. It should be like this.
Yeah, it's
I might be wrong, but I think this season every one of the top 8 faction right now, except maybe Nightwatch, was first at some point of the season. So yeah, that's really good.
I wouldn't be surprised. I personally haven't seen Lannister, Free Folk or Night's Watch, but again, I don't look at this
Yeah.
that frequently because I don't play a lot of games that we actually rank on here. It's normally only tournaments that I play ranked games. But one thing I will say is a guy who has played a lot of neutrals and has run neutrals in a tournament this year, I would like to see them be also like the
hmm
Bolton
hmm
more
hmm
competitive. If you're
hmm
going to be a faction, then they should be a faction that can compete. I think that's a good sentiment that you said. Um,
What's your rating right now? Go up.
I'm like 1600 after the tournament,
And your win rate is how much
uh,
percent?
just under 50.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's actually good because that means you play a lot against better players, players more higher ranked than you.
I,
Because you lost more games you lost more games than you win, but you're over the average rating. So it means you played more against better players that are higher ranked than you than lower. I've seen people that were not much more higher than you with a 60-70% win rate because they play only against people of their ranking or below.
right.
Because when you beat a better player, you get more points. When you beat a lower player, you get less points. So that's actually good for you.
Sweet. So let me ask you one more thing about the upcoming patch, and this is more fantasy because I'm just wondering if you could change something, like without, saying that you fix Boltons or neutrals, but like just something specific about a faction you play. Is there something you'd change or a character a commander you'd improve or something that like if you had that power that you would do?
As I said, I don't even like Game of Thrones. Actually, I don't really like. If this game was Lord of the Rings, I would be like even more in love. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Ring. Game of Thrones, as I said, it's I don't like it that much. So I don't like have like a. Maybe that's why I play every faction. I don't like have a five favorite character or army or faction or family or anything. Uh, me, one skill I like, and I think like it's so stupid. Expert duelist was uh, was 4+ you kill a unit before. No, 3+ you kill a unit before, so you had 2 chance out of 3 of it working, and that was too strong. So then they nerfed it. They put it 4+. So now you have 1 chance out of 3 of killing the unit or dealing no wounds. Just put it 4+, just half and half. That's like the simplest solution. So me, if it always bugged me how it was too strong, then too weak. When there's an obvious answer that's just in the middle, put it 50-50. So, and that always a bit annoyed me, I think, when they changed it like that. So I think the answer is I would just change expert duelist so that it kills attachment on a 50-50 chance on the 4+.
That's
That's what I would change.
cool. That's see, that's what I was looking for. It's a really good, like insightful, and I think I balance most people would agree with, like a change people would agree with.
Yeah,
Makes sense. 4+, like it went from 3 to 5, and you're right. I did play actually, there's a game on the Under the Hedge channel where you can watch um a Targaryen player try for duelist like 3 or 4 times before finally just going back and taking the wound. And that's the only time I've seen somebody not just take the wound since the change,
yeah,
And it
yeah.
failed all those times. And that's why he finally went back to, okay, I'm gonna take the wound because it's like 5+. I mean, if your luck's off, it's just not happening.
In the previous versions, once I was playing against Barrack 10 and I killed the attachment that gives Pathfinder to a unit that was sitting on stakes because it had Pathfinder. That was actually quite funny.
Ouch. So just to wrap up, I wanted to ask you, I guess we kind of talked about it in the patch talk, but like, is there anything you'd like to see from Simon, like for the game, whether it's certain units for certain factions or you kind of mentioned it earlier, like to have them, more present and supportive within the North America.
I yeah, but like in terms of units, like I think they're boring. I think they're so boring with the new units they put out. Like it's okay, they're good, but I don't know if you saw, but the hits and crits did the custom unit tournament,
Right.
and the units people created were so cool, so nice. Like I think the one who won, it's like a free fall guys who throw spots of fire. That's so fucking
Yeah,
cool.
I
Like
saw that.
why don't we have a Lannister trebuchet that throws wildfire? Why don't we already have that for like 3 years ago? that's such cool units. Like the last cool unit they put out, I think, was like the Rakars. It's just fucking lions. That's so cool. I think like it's just like the Greyjoys they release. It's just another units of infantry with axes and armor. Like, come on, you can. Why don't we have a Greyjoy Scorpion or a Ballista type? That would be really nice. So
That would
for
be.
me, yeah, they need to. I don't know. They need to smoke pot or anything. I don't know what they do there, but creatively, like the units they put out, it's so bland. Like the Barton Albert, like come on, and we like it's the same thing as the Stag Knights, but they have halberds instead of hammers. Like okay, it's I don't know, but I don't. I'm not saying I would do better or anything, but there's really a lack there where they just create the more of the same, and it's not because it worked before that it's going to work over and over. You have to be creative and create cool things. So me, I what I would love to see is for them to really step up the game like they're doing these releases, which is cool. That the concept of like the teases, it's okay. And if a faction is missing something, that I have no problem. Like the archers for Martel they released, they had no long range option. That I have no problem at all. That's perfect. But like just another other guys with axes or another guys with hammers, for me it's not interesting. Not interesting at all.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty fair point. Like
It
it's
gives variety to the game. You have more from a point of view of list building. Super cool. That I have nothing to say, but just they're a bit stuck up, I think, with their units.
it would be nice to see. I think like because Night's Watch is the only faction that has war machines, or I guess some of the chariots are considered war
Yeah,
machine.
yeah.
But like
I think
war
so.
machines as you'd think of them, like a catapult, a trebuchet, a scorpion, I think the Dornish should have scorpions too. They're famous for
Oh
killing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. For
Uh,
killing a dragon. Yeah,
and I've always thought Lannisters of all the factions, how do they not have like catapults or trebuchets? Because like
yeah. That
that's
throw
all they
wildfire. Why
do
not?
in the books is like, besiege castles and
Like the only cool unit that Lannisters have is a Pyromancer. All other unit you see it's guys with armors and weapons. Then you have Pyromancer or poor fellows that are just guys with no armors and weapons.
right.
So
I
Pyromancer are
mean,
so
they
cool.
are cool. They are all cool.
Like
Like model.
if I was Lannisters and I had access to this, I wouldn't even have soldiers. I would have catapults that throw that green shit. I would have guys on horses that sling it with slings. So why don't we have light cavalry archers that throw wildfire for Lannister? That would be excellent. Like pyromancer type unit that ride horses. I think there's like the IP that I don't like that much of Game of Thrones has so many things to explore, and they're falling short there. I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of untapped
Yeah,
resources and
yeah.
storylines and characters that people would love to see. Um, so yeah, fair. I think that's a great point and a good way to end this. And we can
Well,
just
again, thanks for having the tournament this weekend. It was amazing, almost 30 players, and I just wanted to say that your channel is amazing, and I really love the reports you do. The format, the 20-minute. Like I have all my family that know I do tournaments, but they have no idea what it is exactly, and I cannot send them like a 2 hour battle report. They're just gonna think I'm weird. So this battle report you had of me and Jaden, I sent it to my dad and sent it to my mom and to other friends that don't really game, and they said, "Oh, that's actually really cool." So yeah, I love the format. It's really accessible and you still have all the strategic. You see all the game how it goes and what moves maybe you should have done, maybe you should have not done. So you still have all these things from the battle report, but it's really digestible in within 20 minutes. It's amazing. So you keep it up, and I think you're gonna reach 1K subscribers by the end of the year, or maybe somewhere 2025 early.
Appreciate that. And let's just end with upcoming events. So, Lords of the North are putting one on in November in Montreal.
So the date is set. It is November 23rd.
November
It will
20th.
be in Montreal at Labis. I will try to create the event on Stats tonight, maybe tomorrow. Details are still to be decided, but we have a 30 player limit there. So there is a hard cap, different from the one we had at the mid-season, which was 48. So it's 30 players max. There will be an amazing prize pool. And I just want to say, for anyone who stayed long enough to hear this, so if at your tournament, we gave Lords of the North gave out a full Bolton set. So the starter set and the Heroes one, Archers, and I think Spearmen.
Yes.
So we are still have one. We still have one to give out. And if my crowdfunding goals are met or exceeded, I will fully paint it to give it away for at our tournament. So and I think people know I won the best unit painted at your tournament. So I don't think I'm like pro painter or anything. I'm okay, but I will fully paint base the full Bolton thing. So the person who wins it, it will be a draw. We will draw it amongst all participants. So there's going to be a fully painted Bolton army based, magnetized everything to win at that event.
Wow, that's pretty epic. So
Thanks.
I'll throw the um I'll throw the link up for your GoFundMe again, and hopefully local players who plan to come to that event see this, and we'll spread the word. I'll try to rally as many of the Under the Hedge crew here in Ottawa as we can. Um,
Amazing.
and yeah, our next event will be February 8th of 2025. So two hopefully big events again coming up in the next 6 months for us in Canada here. Um, and yeah, hopefully we can do more of these chats. Maybe we can do another one post patch and discuss some of
Yeah,
the changes.
that would be great.
Awesome. Well, thanks for
All
taking
right, man.
the time, Sam. Have
Well,
a
see
good
ya
night.
and have a great evening, man.
You too. Take care.